Hello, everyone. I'm Akhil Govil, owner of Three Goddard School in Leesburg, Virginia, Ashburn, Virginia, and Waldorf, Maryland. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to today's webinar, 8 Reasons Why STEAM Education is Important for Preschoolers. This topic is very dear and near to me, being an engineer myself, so let's get started. So first, a bit about Goddard School. As many of you already know, for over 25 years, the Goddard School has been a trusted name among parents and families. We provide a safe and nurturing learning environment for children 6 weeks to 9 years, offering age-appropriate opportunities to discover, explore, and learn. Our approach is based on research that clearly indicates that the deepest and most genuine learning occurs for children through play-based activities. We foster cognitive and social development for each child with fun lessons lovingly guided by highly trained teachers, preparing children for social and academic success. Our 3 schools have been acclaimed by many, many parents, and they are all accredited by industry professionals as well. So, what is STEAM? You may have heard STEAM, or you may have heard STEM, or even STREAM. What does it mean? STEM is an acronym for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And if you add art, A, you get STEAM. And some educators most recently have added R for research components to STEAM, making it STREAM. More or less, STEM, STEAM, STREAM are the same, or at least similar things. They all focus on importance of science and math concept. So, of course, S stands for science, and science is a way of thinking. And T is technology, and technology is a way of doing. And E is engineering, and that is a way of building things. A, as I said earlier, is the creative parts. Art is a way of creating. And M is for math, and math is a way of measuring. And we'll talk about each of these components later in our presentation. So, can preschoolers benefit from STEAM? Yes. As adults, we often think of science, math, and technology as very grown-up subjects. You may remember your high school chemistry class or calculus course. Just like STEAM education helps older kids, teenagers, and adults learn about the world around them, it can also help preschoolers. Our preschoolers aren't just learning the facts and ideas, they're learning how to think through STEM activities. This allows children benefit in many different ways, including social and emotional development, cognitive or intellectual development, and even physical development. Even though STEAM concepts can certainly be complex, they also very much play to the young child's sense of inquiry. This makes it possible to adapt STEAM concepts to the preschooler's level and make them more hands-on. This brings us to 8 reasons why STEAM is important for preschoolers. Why 8? Well, because there isn't just one size fits all way to explain how and why STEAM helps our children to grow, develop, and learn. So let's talk about it. Reason number 1. An early start is a good start. Reason number 2. It builds critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Number 3, children can find a positive outlet for their natural curiosity. Number 4, skills developed in STEAM education can transfer to other areas. Number 5, it encourages natural interactions in the school settings. And number 6, technology education is growing more important in our modern society. Number 7, it helps children to become independent, creative thinkers. And number 8 reason is it's just fun. So now let's discuss this in details. So let's start at the beginning. Reason number 1, why STEAM education is important for preschoolers. It is an early start is a good start. Earlier that a child becomes familiar with STEAM concept, plays with the idea and gets hands-on, the more comfortable they will feel as they grow and continue on in school. It's that natural sense of curiosity that we see when a baby puts everything in their mouth, everything from her foot to the TV remote, when a toddler runs from room to room seeking new experiences, or when a preschooler asks why over and over again. That is what STEAM captures. Imagine a world where everything is new. For the young child, this is how every day is. A new situation, a strange material, or a word that they have never heard before grabs the child's attention and makes her want to know more. It's almost like a young child is opening her eyes for the first time. Starting early makes the most of the desire to learn and experience that preschoolers have. Starting in preschool years also helps children to build base for future learning. STEAM concepts takes an ongoing education over the course of many years. Instead of going to grade school with little to no knowledge of science and math or no experience with technology and art, children participating in STEAM programs get that all-important basic knowledge before formal school starts. It builds a sense of comfort. Not only does early STEAM start give young children the knowledge they need, but it helps accept it in later stages. And starting early allows children to enter elementary school so that they can build up to more challenging STEAM ideas and concepts easily. So reason number 2, it builds critical thinking and problem-solving skills. One of the primary ways that STEAM activities help preschoolers to grow as learners through problem solving. Whether we are talking about scientific process, solving a math equation, or creating a collage, STEAM experiences provide a framework for young children to think critically and flex their creative muscles. Children learn to ask questions and make predictions. They learn that background research, obviously research is a strong word at this age, but needs to be done. They're thinking about something that needs to be done. They learn to think ahead by creating hypotheses. And they learn to test their predictions and hypotheses. Children learn to reflect about their observations. And then they learn to communicate their finding and results. So all these things, probably not in that scientific manner, but this is what's happening when you're learning through STEAM concepts. So how does STEAM build critical thinking and problem-solving skills? STEAM isn't magic when it comes to building critical thinking or problem-solving skills. Simply staring at a math problem or watching science happen in the classroom won't automatically make children thinkers and solvers. Believe me, I've tried and it doesn't work. Children need to get hands-on and investigate, make their own discoveries, and work out solutions to help build these skills. We also need to put the child in the center of the learning process during STEAM activities. Doing so helps to build problem-solving abilities and allows children to puzzle out the pieces of problems using their own minds. Reason number 3 is children can find a positive outlet for their natural curiosity. Admit it, as adults, we spend a lot of time telling children, especially young children, no. We tell them not to touch the food that we're cooking. We tell them not to wander outside. We tell them not to finger paint the family room walls. What happens when we take down all those no's and start saying, yes, you can? STEAM allows us to do that, but in a controlled environment. We're not saying pour the bottle of glue all over the classroom carpet, but we are saying to experiment with how the glue makes different pieces of paper stick together. Using STEAM activities gives children a positive outlet for their curiosity, one that is acceptable and even encouraged by us adults. Children are encouraged to explore through all the senses using STEAM activities. So, what are the ways STEAM can play to child's sense of curiosity? As I said earlier, science is a way of thinking. Experiments help children develop basic science skills like observing what is happening, using words to describe what they notice, and repeating the action to compare results. Technology, as I said earlier, is doing. In preschool curriculum context, technology refers to using tools and developing fine and gross motor skills. By using computers, tables, and other types of technology, children develop eye-hand coordination and strengthen their hand and finger muscles for writing, typing, and drawing. Engineering is a way of building. Playing with blocks and other building materials develops math and science skills, helping children learn about gravity, balance, shapes, and problem solving. And of course, the art piece is the creative piece. Art allows the children to explore the artistic process and play with different materials. Math is a way of measuring. To play with blocks, colors, and shapes, children begin to learn concepts such as classification and ordering. Sorting and counting are great ways to develop logic and learn basic math skills. There isn't just one way that STEAM meets young child's sense of curiosity. Each different discipline allows children to seek answers in somewhat different ways. This is one of the amazing abilities of STEAM, to keep kids interested while getting them to learn in not one but many different ways. Reason number 4, why STEAM education is important to preschool is skills developed in STEAM education can transfer to other areas. At its heart, STEAM is multidisciplinary. It isn't a subject or one type of learning. It crosses content areas. Keep in mind, STEAM isn't just 5 randomly selected learning areas that we put together just because. These concepts rely on one another and often overlap. This allows preschoolers to learn in one area from a lesson in another. So when a child is learning to count blocks and he's stacking them up to see how high the structure can go, the child is not only learning how to count, but also learning engineering, that building part I talked about earlier, to see how different shaped blocks can go different heights. These different skills can be used in other areas. It lets them take the learning to different subjects and different way of looking at it. Same thing. STEAM learning can just as easily happen at home or out in the nature as it happens in the classroom settings as well. So let's take a look at some basic ways that STEAM activities overlap. So here what I'm trying to show is how we can combine different content areas into a single exploration. Now, I won't go through each one of them, but obviously these aren't the only ways. This is what I'm trying to show is that you can combine different areas into how you explore STEAM concepts. The beauty of the STEAM is that it allows teachers and adults to create countless activities that cross boundaries and subject area. This goes beyond simple pairings. We can combine 3, 4, or even 5 areas into a single project or learning experience for the child. So depending if you want to do a collage, you can combine art and math, and you can take some geometric shapes and play with them if your child is so inclined. If your child is more inclined in coloring and mixing, you can take some of these art and science concepts and start mixing them. So you can learn about science aspect and the art aspect. So that's what we're trying to do. You can combine, overlap different areas. Reason number 5 is it encourages natural interactions in school settings. Many of us think science as being cold and sterile. You might remember the formal lab classroom in your high school, or think about airtight laboratory in a movie. Science doesn't have to be like this. Likewise, math, engineering, and STEAM activities don't have to take place in a formal learning environment. One of the advantages to STEAM education is ability to take it out of the classroom and bring it almost anywhere. Where can we do STEAM activities? Well, we can do them outside. This can be school's play yard, or a field trip that you go to in a park, or even in your own backyard. You can do it at technology center or a computer lab or tech center. It doesn't have to be cold or inviting like we have in our preschools. It can be made comfortable so a child feels comfortable with computers and other devices and they are easy to access. It can happen in an art room or in classroom. We can create art spaces almost anywhere. While a designated art room certainly confines the mass to one area, a child-sized table and chairs placed near a low shelf that houses materials is just as helpful. Keep in mind, we can also create art spaces in outdoor areas such as patio or under a shady tree. Not only that STEAM encourages natural interaction in the school settings, but it also provides a hands-on education. Children learn through experience. Even though preschoolers are beginning to understand more sophisticated concepts compared to when they were younger, they still may not be able to get them. STEAM education is a natural pairing with hands-on learning. This allows adults to help preschoolers better understand the concept at hand by letting them do it. They explore, make, create, and experiment for themselves. This puts them in the driver's seat as active learners. Think about what happens when preschoolers have to sit and listen to an adult for 15-20 minutes. The likely result is bored little faces who start to wonder and fidget and otherwise stop paying attention. Now think about what happens when preschoolers get their hands on the subject. Imagine that they are mixing paint colors, making their own orange or purple or green. They're more likely to stay engaged and keep the learning process going. At least over sitting at a table listening to an adult and explain why red and yellow makes orange and this thing. So doing it is what makes more sense. Reason number 6, technology education is growing more important in modern society. It seems like every preschooler knows more about technology than his or her parents, right? I see that in all my preschools. Unlike us adults, our children were born in an age when computers, the internet, and all the little gizmos and gadgets that they have come to take for granted have always been around. While you may remember when there wasn't a Facebook or recall a time when you had to put a quarter into the payphone. Heck, I remember when I had to put dime. Just tells you how old I am. But to make a call, or instead of using cell phone, preschoolers don't. The growing use of technology for everything from entertainment to schooling and work means that today's kids need to feel completely comfortable with it. Hands-on technology experience at an early age through STEM activities increase comfort level. Early technology education can help children grow into responsible users and consumers. And as technology usage increases, there's a growing need to be technology literate. So what does technology education in the early years look like, and how can preschoolers learn through technology? Like science and art, preschoolers can experiment and explore with technology. Of course, always under the watchful eye of an adult. They need to get just as hands-on with technology as they do with other STEAM areas. Even though preschoolers may already be familiar with technology, they still need a guide. As adults, we need to keep them safe by monitoring what they view. This includes teaching them to monitor themselves. They should learn how to surf safely and what types of tech use are no-nos. This may include not visiting certain sites or not using certain sites. I know in our preschool, our computers are specially designed so you can only go to certain sites, and we have filters which we monitor all the time. So those are the kind of things that you should be aware of as an adult at home as well too. Preschoolers can have a positive interactive experience with technology, which enables them to do their own exploration on their own later in life. And teachers and parents can help children look up questions or do research on internet and guide them appropriately. Reason number 7, it helps children to become independent and creative thinkers. STEAM helps preschoolers to be more creative. How? Many of the activities that we find in STEAM education are open-ended. This means that they don't have specific end results. You may have heard about process versus product-oriented art or activities. The primary difference between the two is the framework, is that we set up a child while he or she is learning. In process-based activities, the child has the chance to explore, answering their own questions, come up with their own way of creating, and act as independent thinkers. On the other hand, product-based learning has a specific end result. Here's an example to illustrate the difference. You give your preschooler paint, paper, chalk, scissors, and glue, and you tell her that she can make a painting or a collage or whatever she wants. She explores the materials, playing with them, and not worrying about making something or coming up with an end result. Whereas a product-based lesson might include something like filling in a factory, history fact in a worksheet where outcome is already determined, you're just kind of filling it in. So two different process-based and product-based, two different frameworks of thinking. So reason number 7, it helps children to become independent creative thinkers. So, and how can adults help preschoolers think creatively? Asking open-ended questions are easy way to invite creativity. Instead of asking them a question with yes or no answer, the open-ended question allows the child to come up with their own answer. So you ask what questions? Well, what happened here? What did you try? What have you changed about what you're making? What are some of the ideas you talked about when you haven't tried yet? What have you seen other people trying? What did you notice about blah, blah, blah? What did you think will happen if we do this, this, or this? So these are all what type questions that you can ask and children can ask. Okay, so we've covered 7 reasons so far. Before we talk about the last and eighth reason why STEAM education is important for preschool, I just want to mention some of our upcoming events. As I mentioned previously, Based on requests from parents, we have started a series of webinars called Ask Dr. Childcare, where we will explore subjects of or areas of interest to parents. These webinars will be held on second Wednesdays of the month every other month with different topics of interest. If you have any topics that you would like us to consider for our future webinars, please let me know. Or if you know of an expert who would like to join us for these webinars, please let me know by sending an email to drchildcare411@gmail.com. Of course, anytime if you want to have your thoughts or shares, please share them with me. I would love to hear from you. So today was our first webinar of the year about STEAM. In the second webinar of the year, we'll explore the topic of discipline. Why is it so challenging at various times and time-consuming, but it's very doable? We'll talk about discipline and what is discipline and what is punishment and what's the difference between discipline and punishment and how you can make that happen at different age groups. And that will be on Wednesday, March 9th. So please mark your calendar and let your friends know as well. These webinars are obviously open to anyone and anywhere. So anyone can join us, whoever is interested in the topic. Don't forget to register for these webinars in advance since we only have limited spaces. We will be sending out links, registration links, so please join them. Also, they are on a first-come, first basis, meaning once the capacity is reached, even if you have registered for the webinar, you will not be allowed into the webinar the day of the webinar. So please sign on early to make sure that you're not shut out during the day of that. Also, mark your calendar about the science fair that we'll be holding on Saturday, March 12th, in which our children in preschoolers and older will be conducting science experiments. That is always a very, very fun event. It's an open house, so feel free to recommend Goddard School to your friends or co-workers, and we'd love to have them visit our lovely school. Now, the number 8th reason why STEAM education is important for preschool, as we said earlier, it's fun. Learning shouldn't always be serious, especially for preschoolers. One of the best parts of STEAM education is that it's fun for kids. Yes, science, math, and other STEAM subjects aren't always laugh rides. Ask me. I've taught calculus to college kids. It's not fun for those kids. But the exploratory nature of these activities makes it easy to create fun, engaging activities for preschoolers. These may seem more like play than actual schoolwork. What's the result? The child learns without being pressured to master the task. Why? Because he or she is playing and having fun. How can adults make STEAM fun for children? Try new and different activities. Let's say you want to try a painting activity with your preschooler, but the last time you did anything of artsy was when you were 4. But that doesn't mean you have to ignore art. Remember, your preschooler doesn't know that you are not an expert. Put out the paints, let him or her take the lead. No one expects you to be Picasso. Speaking of putting out the paint, STEAM activities, especially the fun ones, are often messy. So pick washable materials, prep your space by covering it with newspaper or old shower curtain, and encourage exploration. STEAM activities don't always have to be completely novel ideas. Look at what your preschooler is already doing for inspiration. The key with STEAM is getting yourself to invest in it as much as your preschooler does. If you don't believe that it can help or it's fun, your child will also follow. So encourage them and they will also follow. So today we have introduced you to the basics and benefits of STEAM and why it's so important for young children to have an effective STEAM education. I believe all children deserve to have every opportunity to succeed in life, and STEAM education can make this possible. Also, I prepared a very basic home STEAM activity sheet for each age group, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-olds, and for preschool agers that you can use to put STEAM activities to practice for your preschooler. So please send me the age of your child, and I'll make sure that I send out the sheet which is age appropriate for your child. I'll give you a warning. My response time is not always timely, so just be patient. If you send me the request, I will send out those activity sheets to you if you send your request in. So thank you very much. I know that our time is up. Thank you very much for your time. If your friend is interested in Garage School program for yourself, please let them know or let us know. This ends today's webinar. Please feel free to send me an email to share your thoughts. And thank you very much, and see you soon.